Hi friends! I am so excited you're here today because I have kind of a big unhaul. I have over 70 books here to unhaul. I have so many because honestly when I started the Read What You Own challenge back in November, I was DNFing books left and right. So yeah, it's gonna feel good to get rid of all these books. Some of these books will be on my Pango, which it will be linked in the description box down below. But most of them I think I'm gonna donate. And yeah, let's get right into it. Starting with Road to Bones, which I have 2 copies of. Oops. I DNF'd this pretty recently. I wasn't a huge fan of it. That's why I stopped reading it. I made it 100 pages in, which is almost the whole book. And yeah, it just wasn't keeping my attention. Let's just say that. I feel like nothing really happened. It was like a lot of setup. And when I did get to the creepy parts, I was like not impressed at all. Lisa Joel's Invisible Girl, I DNF'd this one this month as well. Just because there's a POV in that I wasn't crazy about. I have some Kings here that, well, I need another copy of Christine for sure. That one's all messed up. I keep multiplying this. I don't know. I think if I see it somewhere, I pick it up. The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon. I love this book. I don't need like 3 copies of it. And The Talisman, which is Peter Straub and Stephen King. I have a big hardback of this one. That's the really cool cover. Like, yeah. Needless to say, I'm getting rid of Bentley Little, The Return. I attempted to read this, I want to say for Garb August, and I DNF'd it, and which is no surprise. Flowers in the Attic. I love this book, but I have 2 copies of it. The Daughter of Endora Welty. I don't know where I got this from. It still has like a bookmark in it. Maybe I got it at a little free library or something. I don't think this is horror. I think that's like just a drama or something. John Saul's Shadows. Nothing to say. Usually I unhaul John Saul. I think I DNF'd this one. Karen Russell's St. Lucy's Home for Girls, Raised by Wolves. This is a short story collection that I actually did like before I got into horror. I was really into like contemporary lit fic. How boring. And I really like Karen Russell's stuff. Swamplandia is actually one of my favorite like contemporary books by that author. Goosebumps Most Wanted. I had a lot of fun with this one, but I think I'm gonna donate it. And then Patricia Cornwell's Blowfly. I think I started, was it this one? There's one in this unhaul. I started in December and I DNF'd it because the POV switched. So it's not the regular person we follow in this series. It's like a group, it's men detectives, and they were horrible. Which I don't know, might be very true to, you know, Patricia Cornwell writing what she experienced. Very Long Engagement, another contemporary, or this is historical fiction. I read this forever ago. I used to be obsessed with this, and like when I was like 20, I was obsessed with the movie and the book, but I don't think I'm gonna ever read it again. The Uninvited by John Ferris. I have tried to finish this book 3 times. 3 times. It is so small. I cannot get into this book. I cannot get into it. I know John Ferris has other good books. I'm going to attempt to get into those. Yeah, this is about a girl who has like amnesia or something, and she can't remember this dude, but she like it's a dude that has amnesia who was found naked, and she accidentally hits him with her car, and she's like, oh, I think I'm in love with you. I don't know. It was weird. It was like boring and weird. And then I'm DNFing Joyce Carol Oates' Mysteries of Winterhurn. I made it through, I think, the first story in this. This is 3 stories. So it's Mysteries at Winterhurn. This is part of Joyce Carol Oates' Gothic collection. I really liked The Cursed. which I actually unhauled too, but I really liked that one when I read it. But yeah, the first story in this just like wasn't hooking me. So I still have Bellefleur, which I hear is like the best one. So I'm gonna attempt to read that one. I think she has 3 in the Gothic collection. What else? I think I got this at the thrift store, Good Behavior. I think this is a thriller. I'm mostly gonna try to hang on to all of my the paperbacks being horror from now on. I'm getting rid of Anne Rule paperbacks. I think I read this one, Every Breath You Take. Yes, this is a crazy story. Revolutionary Road. I was obsessed with this book as well. It still has the price tag from the freaking thrift store. Obsessed with the movie and the book. Very good, very good historical fiction there. Solstice. I keep picking this one up too. And like, this is YA. I think it's YA vampires, and I can't get into it. So that's another DNF. I have a ton of DNFs here. The Knife of Never Letting Go by Patrick Ness. Chaos Walking, book 1. This is a fantasy book, I believe, or like a YA fantasy. Yeah, I don't think I'm ever gonna pick that one up. The Banished by Ron Gabriel. This is a witch book. It ended up being like too young of a witch story for me, like very YA, and yeah, I DNF'd it. It was so boring. This cover too looks like so cool. It is not cool. It's like Harry Potter. And then Michael Crichton, The Woman. Ooh, this is a hard case crime book. I just don't think I'm ever going to get to. The Merciless. This is book 3. I never got my hands on the first 2, which is kind of a bummer because they are pink, and yeah, I do want to read this series one day, but I just have to get it from my local library or something. Come With Me by Ronald Malfoy. This is actually my favorite Malfoy book. I just know I'm not going to read it again, but as for his books, this one's really good. The Girl Who Played With Fire. I don't even think this is the first one in the series. I've tried to get into this series. The translation just doesn't work for me. I knocked out on all the books. So you guys know I read Salem and Sins in November, and I actually liked it, but not like loved it. So I don't think I'm gonna make it to the second or the third one, which I have here. A Slow Fire Burning by Paula Hawkins. How did I forget that? I read this in November. I did like it, but I won't reread it or anything. It's a thriller. The Toll by Sherry Priest. This is some great folklore. I had a lot of fun with this, but I read it a couple of years ago, and I don't think I'm going to be rereading it. Same with The Doctor's Demons. This is a child possession story. I just don't see myself ever rereading it. Next book is La Pisania. I was sad to DNF this. I think I made it 150 pages in or so, and I was kind of sad that this wasn't working for me. I was really bored. This is like a surrealism werewolf story, and it just wasn't working for me. Cold Fire. We have a Coons on here, of course. Did not enjoy this one. I think I read 30% of it. I listened to it on audio, and I was not feeling it. I have no memory of it. Oh, this is a great picture of him though, like by a tree. Oh, he's like, I love tree. I have another true crime book here. This is Chambers of Horror, and all of these crimes in here, thanks to YouTube and podcast, I am already an expert of. And then this is a tough one to get rid of. I did not like this story, but it has a doll on the cover, and I was keeping it. I was keeping it because of the cover, and then I was like, don't keep things because of the cover. The Illuminaries. I think this is historical fiction. I got when I first started booktube, which was like 4 years ago now. I don't think I'm getting to it anytime soon. And I just threw this one in here for giggles because I found it in my entryway. If you guys don't know, I have 2 bookcases in my entryway, and I've been cleaning those, and I found erotic poetry. and I don't think I've ever read one poem from it. Okay, so the next 3 books are actually fantasy books that I got forever ago that I thought I would get into. I think these are YA, I want to say. I have no idea what they're called. Rhapsody series. They look very cool, but yeah, not in my fantasy era anymore. Next 2 are books that I did not like on my 23 and 23, some paperbacks from hell. I didn't have a great time with these, but I think I'm going to try to exchange these at my local bookstore and see if they take them. And also, like, have that conversation and bug my local bookstore about paperbacks from hell any chance I get. You know I'm going to do it. The Invisible Man I read in November. And you know what? I didn't really like it. I don't really like this main character. He's so unlikable. And I can donate that one. I think that would be fun. Son of Rosemary. Hated. Son of Rosemary is one of the worst books I think ever written. And then Peter Straub's X. It was okay except for the ending. I was like, why? Why would you end a book like this? And then the next 6 books, these are little serialized books, and honestly I thought about keeping these 2 because of the covers, especially the Eye for the Eye, which is the best one. The Locket is good too, but then I think it just kind of loses its momentum a bit. I read these in November for Read What You Own because they're perfect because they count as like 6. And you know what? I was very predictable. Very predictable, like usual with John Saul, and mediocre. So I was a bit disappointed. And then I have some middle grade. The Magic Finger, which I totally read for Read What You Own. The Girl in the Locked Room, I also read that one. I liked it, but as you can tell, I got it in a little free library, so I'm going to donate it back. And then Summer in the Woods, actually DNF'd the book 1 of these. These are like based in Richmond, like middle grade. There's some terminology in this. I know it came out like at 2012 or so, but it really bothered me. I was like, okay, come on, kids should not be reading reading outdated language like this. Like, what? So yeah, I'm autoholic good. And then The Shadow House, I actually had a lot of fun with this one. I downloaded the app and everything, but I definitely won't be rereading. The next book is some non-fiction books. I think I've read half of Medical Apartheid. This is about the dark history of medical experimentation on Black Americans from colonial times to present. It's very gnarly and dark, and yeah, super, super disturbing. If you're looking, this is like the most disturbing nonfiction book I've read, and the next one is pretty dark too. In the Garden of the Beast, Eric Larson. This is about the U.S. ambassador that was in Berlin at the beginning of World War II, or like the rise of Hitler. Both very dark and disturbing. I'd say this one's like super gnarly. And the next book is actually 3 books. This book, The Inheritance Trilogy by N.K. Jemisin. As you can tell, I read the first one in my fantasy era, but I went to read the second one pretty recently. I think December. I got the audio on Libby, and I could not get into it. Not that I didn't quite remember what happened in the first one. It just, I wasn't vibing with it, which makes sense because I'm not in my fantasy era. And then I got another true crime book, The Green River Killer. I read this a couple years ago, and then Smolder by Michael R. Goodwin. This is actually an indie book, but I think I DNF'd it. Oops. I always feel bad about that. And then I have a comic, The Rat Queens, Volume 1, which was fun. And then I have Cask, The Origins of Our Discontents by Isabel Wilkerson. I loved this. This is one of my favorite nonfiction books. The author, she's well, you're learning something. You're learning about the caste system that nobody talks about in America. And then when she starts to tell her own stories, she just says, oh, he was in an upper class or some caste or whatever, and you just know. You're just filling it in because you've already been taught what it is. It's genius. It was very well written, and yeah, I felt like I actually learned something, which was magnificent. Vampires of El Norte by Isabella Canas. This is a tough one to get rid of too because I love the cover so much. The cover is fantastic, but again, I'm not just gonna hold on to books because of the cover. If I had all the room in the world, I totally would. And then I found another Wheel of Time book that I had that I never even took the stickers off of. I think I have 2 copies of this one. I have the big floppy ones, which I actually used to read instead of these first editions, which the first editions are really nice, but they're huge. And then I'm donating this arc of the Book of the Most Precious Substance by Sarah Grant. I had a lot of fun with this one. Last year it was so weird and I loved Word Wit. It was like amazing. But yeah, I'm gonna donate that one. And then Against the Day by Thomas Pynchon. I tried to get into this one, DNF'd it. This is a retelling about World War I. You know, I'm just not in my World War I here at the moment. Okay, there you have it. That was 70 books. I hope this wasn't too long. Let me know if you've read any of these books or have you unhauled any books recently. And I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Bye!